I changed the wallpaper, packed up your things, stopped driving by your street, stopped wearing your ring. I told my friends I'm finally okay, but there's one thing I still can't throw away. Every now and then I scroll too far, and there you are, right where you always are. Your name in my phone feels heavier than it should. It's only a few letters, but it still hurts this good. And I never call, I never text, I never cross that line, but your name in my phone still feels like mine. Your name in my phone, a memory I can't erase, 'cause deleting your number feels too much like replacing you. Someone asked about you the other day. I smiled and said you're doing great. The truth is I wouldn't know. I've spent so long trying not to know, but some nights get lonely and my hand forgets how many promises I've kept. I open your contact and close it again, like I've done 100 times since then. Love shouldn't cost your memory, love shouldn't erase your truth, but sometimes lonely hearts hold on to what they lose. The hardest part isn't missing you, the hardest part is knowing if you called tonight I'd still answer without thinking. Maybe that's how I know I'm not over us at all. Not because I want you back, because some part of me still lives inside that core. Now I'm rebuilding slowly, piece by piece at night, learning how to exist without needing your name for light. Your name in my phone. Maybe one day I'll let it go, maybe one day I'll scroll past and not feel alone. Maybe healing isn't forgetting, maybe healing is accepting the truth that some people leave, but never fully leave you. Your name in my phone still sitting where it's always been, not because I'm waiting, just because I haven't learned how to say goodbye again. I deleted the pictures, I deleted the texts, but your name in my phone is the last thing left. Loving you wasn't my mistake, losing myself was. I changed the music that I liked till my world turned gray. Started saying yes to things I would have turned away. I moved my whole world toward you without even seeing why. Somewhere between loving you and needing you too much, I let my own heart die. Everybody called it love, maybe they were right, but nobody ever saw how I disappeared each night. And now I finally understand what I couldn't see back then. Loving you wasn't my mistake. Losing myself was. Built my whole world around your heartbeat, till there was nothing left to love. I don't regret the memories, I don't regret your name. I just regret forgetting who I was before you came. Loving you wasn't my mistake. Thinking I'd survive without myself was. Stopped calling old friends, stopped chasing old dreams, built my whole future on all your fragile schemes. I thought sacrifice was love, thought pain meant I should stay. Funny how some lessons only make sense when you finally walk away. I don't blame you anymore, you never begged me to fade. I did that all on my own, cause I was so afraid. And that's the truth that hides beneath what nobody wants to hear. Loving you wasn't my mistake. Losing myself was. Build my whole world around your heartbeat, till there was nothing left to love. I don't regret the memories, I don't regret your name. I just regret forgetting who I was before you came. Loving you wasn't my mistake. Thinking I'd survive without myself was. Hardest part of moving on is who I have to rebuild. The person that I used to be before my worth was filled by how much you needed me. Before I confused being loved with being enough for me. I spent so long trying to keep us alive that I forgot to keep myself alive too. Loving you wasn't my mistake, and maybe that's the lesson. Some people walk into your life to show you what you deserve. I don't hate you where you are, I don't hate the way we were, I don't even hate goodbye. I just wish I'd known back then that I mattered all along. Loving you wasn't my mistake. Losing myself was. And maybe healing is finally becoming the person I left behind. 1,000 followers and nobody to call tonight. My phone lights up every minute, messages, likes and names. People saying that they love my content, but nobody asks if I'm okay. I post a smile on a Friday, everybody thinks I'm fine. Funny how the brightest little pictures usually hide the darkest nights. I know people in every city, I know faces everywhere, but when the room gets quiet, there's nobody really there. knows my username. Nobody knows my pain. 1,000 followers, nobody to call. 100 conversations, no one who knows it all. They see the best of me, the version on their screen, but nobody sees the nights in between. 1,000 followers and still I feel alone. Funny how the whole world watches while I'm sitting on my own. I hit 100,000 views. They said I should celebrate, so I ordered dinner for one and watched the evening getting late. I wanted to tell somebody about everything I'd done, then realized I spent the whole day without talking to anyone. People know my favorite music, my coffee and my clothes, but nobody knows the quiet little battles I never dare to post. Everybody sees the highlight reel, nobody sees behind the scenes. 1,000 followers, nobody to call. 100 conversations, no one who knows it all. They see the best of me, the version on their screen, but nobody sees the nights in between. 1,000 followers and still I feel alone. Funny how the whole world watches while I'm sitting on my own. I don't need another follower, I don't need another like. I trade 1,000 burning notifications for one real call tonight. 'Cause being seen isn't the same as being known, and being famous to strangers can still feel alone. 1,000 followers, nobody to call. The loudest kind of loneliness is having it all. They know my face, they know my name, but not the things I just can't explain. 1,000 followers, and finally I understand. Sometimes what they're missing won't fit inside the screen. Sometimes what we're missing is simply someone who understands. 1,000 followers, one empty room, one bright screen, and a silent phone. I gave you all my colors till my world turned gray. Every little part of me slowly faded away. You became my religion, my reason to survive. And somewhere in the process I forgot my own life. Blue screen memories living inside my phone. 1,000 little pieces of a life I've outgrown. Every text says forever, every picture says stay. Funny how forever ended with without either of us saying. Blue screen memories still lighting up the dark, and every time I find your name, it breaks my heart. To be the first one at the top of my screen. Good morning text, good night calls, and every little thing between. I became what you needed, soft enough not to fight, quiet enough not to leave, broken enough to stay. Part of moving on is feeling more alone. Love shouldn't cost your history. Love shouldn't feel like proof. But sometimes lonely hearts stray themselves and lose their youth. Blue screen memories, but maybe that's okay. Maybe growing up means learning some things were never meant to stay. Maybe healing isn't deleting every trace of yesterday. Maybe healing is accepting that people change along the way. Blue screen memories still living in my phone, but I'm rebuilding slowly now, and I can face the dark alone. I'm still here somewhere underneath the damage. I smile in every picture, so nobody knows I'm drowning. Another Friday night, another story on my phone. Everybody thinks I'm living some perfect kind of life. I know how to fake a laugh, I know how to play my part. I've become an expert at hiding a breaking heart. People tell me you look happy, and I always say I am. Funny how the biggest lies are the easiest to understand, 'cause nobody asks twice when you say you're alright. Nobody knows I'm drowning, 'cause I learned how to swim in pain. I keep my head above the water while I'm sinking every day. Everybody sees the surface, nobody sees below. I carry storms inside me that nobody knows, nobody knows. I'm drowning, not even the ones I love. I answer every message, I show up when I'm needed. I keep everybody else together while I'm coming apart. Some nights I sit in silence, staring at the ceiling fan, wondering how someone surrounded by people can still feel this alone. The worst part isn't sadness, the worst part is pretending that nothing's wrong for so long. You almost start believing it yourself, and It's getting harder to breathe. Nobody knows I'm drowning, 'cause I learned how to swim in pain. I keep my head above the water while I'm sinking every day. Everybody sees the surface, nobody sees below. I carry storms inside me that nobody knows. Nobody knows I'm drowning, not even the ones I love. The truth is, I don't need people to fix me. I don't need perfect words. I just wish somebody noticed before I had to say it hurts. 'Cause sometimes the strongest person in the room is the one closest to breaking, and nobody sees it coming until it's too late. I got really good at looking okay. Nobody knows I'm drowning, but tonight I'm letting go of pretending that I'm stronger than I really am below. Maybe healing starts the moment you stop carrying it alone. Maybe being honest is the bravest thing I've known. Nobody knows I'm drowning, but maybe now they will. I smile in every picture, but that's not the whole story. And maybe it never was. If I knew that was our last Christmas, I would have stayed a little longer. The tree was glowing, the snow came down. You were laughing, everybody was around. I said I'll see you next year, like I always did, never knowing how much I'd miss this. We always think there's one more Christmas left, one more Christmas, one more night, one more picture by the lights, one more memory I could hold before the story got too old. One more Christmas, that's all I need. One more Christmas with you and me. Now December feels different. The lights don't shine the same. Everybody's singing, but I only hear your name. I still save your seat when the family gets together, and for a moment I pretend it's forever. One more Christmas, one more night, one more picture by the lights, one more memory I could hold before this story got too old. One more chance to sing along, one more smile before goodbye, one more star in the winter sky, one more Christmas, that's all I choose. If I could spend one more Christmas with you. If I knew that was our last Christmas, I would have stayed a little longer. Nobody prepared me for this. Nobody told me it hurt like this. Nobody told me my parents would get older, the house I grew up in would somehow feel smaller. Nobody told me friends would disappear without a fight, without a reason, just over years. I thought I'd have more time, I think we all do. Nobody prepared me for this. Nobody told me it'd feel like this. One day you're young, next day you're missing people you thought would always exist. Nobody prepared me for this. Nobody warned me about goodbye, how some things end without a last time. Nobody prepared me for this. Nobody told me love could fade slowly, not with a broken heart, just quiet loneliness. Nobody told me the dreams come true and somehow you're still not happy the way you thought you'd be. Growing up feels different than I imagined. Nobody prepared me for this. Nobody told me it'd feel like this. One day you're young, next day you're missing people you thought would always exist. Nobody prepared me for this. Nobody warned me about goodbye, how some things end without a last time. Nobody prepared me for this. The hardest part isn't losing. The hardest part is knowing while it was happening you didn't know. Those were the days you'd miss forever. Nobody prepared me for this. Nobody told me it hurt like this. One day you're laughing, next day you're looking at old pictures, trying not to miss. Nobody prepared me for this, but maybe that's life. Learning too late what mattered the whole time. Nobody prepared me for this. Nobody prepared me for this. Maybe nobody could. My phone says I'm online. heart says otherwise. I answer every message, I show up every day. I laugh at all the right moments, I know exactly what to say. I post another picture, everybody thinks I'm fine. Funny how the world can see me at the same time. I'm fading inside. The lights are always on, but nobody's home. I've been running on empty for longer than I know. Everybody sees me living, nobody sees me survive. Offline heart in an online world, smiling for the camera while falling apart. I keep showing up, I keep playing my part, but nobody notices my offline heart still beating somehow, just tired of pretending I'm okay right now. I know everybody's updates, I know what they're doing tonight. Who's in love, who's moving away, who's winning at life. But if somebody asked me what happened to your spark, I wouldn't know how to explain an offline heart. Some days feel normal, some days feel like war. And the hardest battles are the ones nobody sees at all. The world keeps moving faster while I'm trying to feel something. Offline heart in an online world, smiling for the camera while falling apart. I keep showing up, I keep playing my part, but nobody notices my offline heart still beating somehow, just tired of pretending I'm okay right now. The truth is, I don't need another follower, I don't need another friend request. I just need one person who notices when my smile is doing all the work. 'Cause the strongest people aren't always strong, sometimes they're just good at hiding the hurt. I've been available to everyone except myself. Offline heart, but maybe that's not forever. Maybe healing starts when you stop holding everything together. Maybe being honest isn't weakness after all. Maybe the bravest thing is making the call. Offline heart, learning how to feel again, one day at a time, one truth at a time. My phone says I'm online. Maybe one day my heart will be too. My screen time says 11 hours, mine says 12. Funny how we're both online and still need someone else. I reply to every message, liked every picture I could find. Everybody thinks I'm living, but I'm barely getting by. I know who's moving cities, who's in love and who's moved on, yet somehow every night still feels so long. I post another smiling picture, People tell me I look great. Nobody sees me staring at the ceiling, wide awake. I know everybody's stories, I know everybody's plans, but nobody knows how heavy my heart is. Everybody sees my profile, nobody sees my pain. Maybe that's the saddest thing about living this way. Online but empty, scrolling through the dark. 1,000 conversations, still can't reach my heart. My phone keeps lighting up, my room stays quiet. Everybody sees we're online, nobody sees we're tired. Looking for connection, looking for a sign. Funny how we're everywhere and nowhere at the same time. I got 200 notifications, not one that really mattered. Sometimes attention feels like broken glass that shatters. I got people in my DMs, people saying they care, but when my world falls apart, nobody's really there. I thought more people would mean less loneliness. I thought being noticed would make me feel less stressed. Turns out being seen isn't the same as being known. The world gets louder, I feel smaller every single day. Online but empty, scrolling through the dark. 1,000 conversations, still can't reach my heart. My phone keeps lighting up, my room stays quiet. Everybody sees we're online, nobody sees we're tired. Looking for connection, looking for a sign. Funny how we're everywhere and nowhere at the same time. Maybe we're all waiting for somebody to ask twice. Maybe we're all hiding behind filters and replies. I don't need more followers, I don't need more likes. I just need somebody who notices tonight. My screen time says 11 hours, mine says 12. Funny how we're both online and still need someone else. Online but empty, but maybe not forever. Maybe healing starts when we're honest together. Oh, my phone keeps lighting up, but now I finally know being seen by everybody isn't the same as being known. Not the same, not the same as being known. My screen time says 11 hours, mine says 12. Funny how we're both online and still feel alone. I found your picture inside an old shoebox tonight. The one from California, where you wore that white dress by the coastline. Back when we talked about the names of our future kids. Back when forever felt so close, we could almost touch it. You filled in all my corners with daydreams drawn in ink. We sketched a life on napkins and late night coffee clinks. We were almost forever, almost everything. Almost a house with a garden, a call. We were almost forever, and somehow that's what hurts most of all. Last week I drove past the street where you used to live. The lights were rearranged, but my heart still recognized it. I heard from a friend you're doing okay these days, and I smiled like I meant it, then broke down on the way. I don't miss every moment, I don't miss every fight, I just miss the future we thought we'd have together. Every night I trace those almost milestones like postcards never sent, a life we never lived but never quite forget. Love shouldn't feel like a footnote tucked in a broken soul, but sometimes almost stories are the ones that mark you most. The hardest part of losing wasn't watching you let go, it was grieving all the versions of a life we'll never know. We were almost forever, almost my whole world, almost every chapter, almost my last girl. We were almost sunsets, almost Sunday drives, almost every reason I believed in love and life, but almost is a lesson that nobody wants to learn. Sometimes the closest thing to forever is the dream that couldn't work. We were almost forever, and I still feel it now every time I hear you.